The narrative begins within the familiar household rhythm of Archie Bunker, a man defined as much by his routine as his stubborn worldview. Edith hums cheerfully while preparing brunch, exuding a soft domestic warmth that contrasts with Archie's hardened attitude. Stephanie sits nearby, diligently completing homework on Asia. When asked what she studies, she answers honestly only for Archie to dismiss Asia as a little country full of godless commie-gooks. Stephanie corrects him. Asia is a continent. His response showcases ignorance disguised as confidence, revealing generational friction and casual prejudice. Edith simply nods, caught perpetually between placating and correcting him. The house feels like a delicate balance: Edith's optimism, Stephanie's curiosity, Archie's cynicism. Archie explains he must hurry to the bar because he and his partner Harry need to hire a new waitress. Boom, boom, their previous employee quit when her boyfriend was released from jail and asked her to live with him until he's caught again. Archie complains about hunger, then leaves expecting sympathy. Edith tries to show affection by offering brunch, but Archie refuses to eat in bed because there are only two things you do in bed, and one of them is sleep. When Stephanie asks what the other is, he awkwardly answers having headaches. The comedic evasions emphasize his discomfort with intimacy in front of children. At the bar, the hiring process takes an unexpected turn. The applicant is Denise, a woman from Archie's past. Their reunion stirs awkwardness, nostalgia, and unspoken attraction. Harry hovers clueless. Denise and Archie dance verbally around the memory they share that night, which nearly blossomed into infidelity. Denise asks why Archie didn't stay with her that night. He fumbles he loved Edith and was afraid. Their chemistry hints at emotional infidelity more than physical. When Edith later arrives to help, she meets Denise without jealousy. Denise unravels the truth: 2 small kisses and 1 dance, nothing more. Because she refuses to be the cause of turmoil, Denise quits. Archie lies that he fired her, reinforcing his self-image as desired and in control. Christmas arrives, but Archie expresses disdain for seasonal cheer. He lists complaints about crime, extortionate prices, and groping subway professionals. Santa Claus enters collecting donations. The bar's regulars respond skeptically but donate small amounts. Financial stability is shaky. Then Archie discovers counterfeit $10 bills. Suspicion grows when Mr. Van Rensselaer, a blind man, mishandles the identification of fake money. When more counterfeit bills appear, panic escalates. Meanwhile, Edith goes shopping for underwear and unknowingly uses a fake bill. Police arrest her, leading to comedic interrogation. She references detective TV shows as if they taught her real law. Officers suspect she might be Agnes Denuncio, wife of a man previously linked to counterfeit schemes. Archie rushes to the station and shows various IDs, including a library card in someone else's name. Ultimately, Edith is released. Police ask Archie to help identify the counterfeiter. Back at the bar, Archie locks patrons inside to interrogate them. Suspense heightens when Mr. Van Rensselaer uses his keen hearing to identify who received change for a $10 bill recently. The culprit is unexpectedly Santa Claus. He confesses his inheritance from his uncle counterfeit bills. He lost his job and resorted to passing them out of desperation. Compassion fills the room. They let him go, believing his remorse and poverty. But as he leaves, they see him drive away in a 1979 Cadillac, shattering their trust. Archie questions whether compassion is wasted on deception. The story shifts to the Bunker home, where Edith anticipates family reunion. Gloria, Michael, and Joey are supposed to visit from California. Archie mocks California as morally corrupt, full of nude swimmers and bubbling jacuzzis with hands roaming underwater. Gloria calls unexpectedly, announcing they won't come home due to Michael's back injury. Archie suspects they've become too Hollywood. Edith, refusing disappointment, decides they will fly to California instead. After frantic packing, emotional manipulation, and suitcase overload, they leave. Stephanie initially refuses to travel, but Archie frightens her with the idea of a mysterious attic door she must never open, so she agrees to come. On the plane, comedic chaos unfolds. Archie carries a frozen turkey drawing stairs. At the airport in California, they reunite with Gloria, whose eyes are irritated by smog. She drives them in her small hatchback. At her home, Archie disapproves of warm weather Christmas and claims the patio is just a back porch with no roof. He looks suspiciously at neighbors lounging lazily, assuming they are poor because they share cigarettes. Edith, however, is fascinated by a lemon tree in the yard. Sleeping arrangements ignite tension. Archie refuses to sleep on the sofa bed, but eventually yields. That night, Michael and Gloria argue they are secretly separated. Their marriage has slowly deteriorated. Gloria admits she has been lonely, unseen, ignored. Michael feels pressured academically and uses his career as justification for emotional absence. She confesses she eats excessively, consuming entire frozen cheesecakes alone. Their argument climaxes when Gloria slaps Michael, then collapses emotionally. She flees to Edith, sobbing. Edith learns everything: separation, emotional abandonment, and another man, Bud Krieger, who offered Gloria validation. Edith faints repeatedly, overwhelmed by the confession. Gloria oscillates between guilt and justification, claiming Bud made her feel visible. In the morning, Edith tells Archie. He storms into the bedroom and threatens Michael, physically assuming he cheated. When he learns Gloria is the one involved, his worldview collapses. He calls it immoral, sinful, and shameful. Michael defends Gloria, saying emotional needs are real. Archie dismisses that as nonsense. Edith interrupts, saying couples can hurt each other and still love deeply. Christmas morning should be joyous, but tension remains. Yet as the children open gifts, laughter returns. Joey rides his toy excitedly. Stephanie receives a beautiful doll. Archie and Michael exchange similar electric razors, purchased without knowledge of each other's gift. A subtle metaphor: they think differently, but respond similarly. The living room becomes emotional terrain. Edith asks quietly, "Do you still love each other?" Gloria refuses to answer in front of Archie. Michael hesitates, saying he's unsure. Edith says that uncertainty itself is proof of care. True indifference would be silent. Over the next day, the family interacts gently. Gloria and Michael begin speaking softly instead of shouting. They reflect on where disconnect began, not in betrayal, but in neglect. Gloria says she stopped feeling visible. Michael admits he focused on career ambition, forgetting intimacy. Archie's simplistic worldview crumbles. Emotional nuance confuses him. He stands outside on the patio later that night, staring at lemon trees, contemplating change. Warm air feels wrong but comforting. Slowly, the idea dawns that the world can be different without being dangerous. The next afternoon, the family goes to a park near the coast. Sunlight warms their faces. Children fly a kite. The metaphor is obvious but meaningful: fragile connections lifted by wind rather than force. Gloria and Michael sit closely, their knees touching. They promise to try therapy. Their silence becomes comfortable again, intimate rather than empty. Returning home, Archie watches from a distance. He notices each small gesture: Michael helping Gloria carry groceries, Gloria smoothing Joey's hair, Edith laughing gently. He sees hope in subtlety. When they pack to return to New York, Gloria hugs Edith tightly. Archie quietly pockets a seashell from the California beach, unwilling to admit sentiment. Back home, everything looks as before: the dried needles of the neglected Christmas tree, the familiar furniture, the mysterious attic door. But something emotional has shifted. Stephanie asks if she still needs to keep the attic locked. Archie laughs softly. The fear tactic worked, but is no longer necessary. He walks into the living room and places the seashell on the mantel. Edith watches quietly. That simple gesture holds more emotional growth than any speech. Relationships change slowly, like sand smoothing edges of shells. That night, Archie stands before the Christmas tree again. He whispers the familiar refrain, "Those were the days." But unlike before, it isn't a longing for the past. It is acceptance: the present imperfect, as it is, deserves gratitude. The warmth of California lingers inside him, because sometimes healing begins in climates you didn't expect. As the days after Christmas begin to pass, the emotional resonance of the California visit continues to echo through the Bunker household. Though the return flight lands them geographically back where they started their interior lives, seems subtly altered, like furniture rearranged in the mind. Archie steps into his living room, breathing in familiar air, almost surprised by how heavy it feels compared to the breezy Californian climate. He immediately resumes his complaints, grumbling about luggage seats too small for regular-sized Americans in airline meals. Edith hums softly, as if wrapping his words in bubble wrap. Stephanie darts to her room, eager to unpack seashells and trinkets she collected near the coast, each object tied to memories she cannot yet articulate. That evening, Archie slumps into his armchair with a groan. Edith brings him warm tea and gently removes his coat, discovering the seashell tucked inside the pocket. She looks at him with a knowing smile. Archie snatches it, self-consciously muttering excuses about sea trash. Still, he places it on the mantel. It sits there unobtrusively, but symbolically, proof that California touched even the most immovable man. Meanwhile, life quietly returns to routine. Stephanie goes back to school. Edith visits neighbors. Archie resumes work at the bar. Harry greets him with exaggerated relief, complaining about managing things alone, though in truth, little chaos occurred in his absence. The bar's holiday tinsel still hangs crookedly, an accidental metaphor festive but strained by gravity. Patrons shuffle inside with their usual banter. Barney demands nuts again without purchasing a drink. Someone teases Archie about Santa in the Cadillac, reopening suspicions. The memory gnaws at him, generosity and deception intertwined. Archie slaps his palm on the counter, swearing aloud that the world punishes kindness. But as he speaks, he touches the seashell inside his coat pocket again, subconsciously contradicting himself. Edith calls the bar that afternoon to check in. Her voice sounds lighter than usual. She tells Archie she mailed a thank you letter to Gloria and included recipes for California citrus cookies. Archie snorts, complaining that lemons don't belong in desserts, but Edith hears the warmth hidden inside the protest. That night alone in their bedroom, she opens Gloria's reply. The letter is tentative, apologetic, hopeful. Gloria explains that counseling appointments have begun, cautiously optimistic. We are talking, she writes, not shouting. The line moves Edith to tears. She presses the letter to her chest, whispering gratitude. She prays silently for their hearts, like one would pray for fragile wings learning to fly. Archie sees her crying and assumes disaster. He demands explanations, but when Edith hands him the letter, he reads slowly, tracing each word with suspicion. When he finishes, he folds the paper gently, gentler than expected, and stares at the floor. The silence between them becomes a mutual exhale. Finally, with eyes avoiding hers, he mutters, "Good, fine." Long as that Bud Krieger keeps his distance. Edith kisses his cheek. Days stretch onward. Winter settles in New York. Snow gathers near doorsteps, something Archie finds comfortingly predictable. He shovels every morning with grunts and curses, but inside he is grateful to feel needed. Stephanie joins him outside, occasionally carving patterns in the snow with her boots. She laughs when he complains that snow tastes better in the old days. Inside, Edith hangs the seashell beside a framed photograph of the family. Its placement is subtle but intentionally sacred. Each week, Gloria writes more letters. They become increasingly personal updates about counseling progress, stories about Joey's drawings, reflections about identity and marriage. She writes that California is warm but sometimes lonely. It's strange, she says, how you can feel cold in sunlight. Michael also sends a short letter apologizing again for distance, promising change. Archie pretends to ignore it, but after dinner he rereads it privately. As February approaches, Archie and Edith host friends. Conversation flows effortlessly until one guest jokingly asks how California survived the bunkers. Archie laughs dismissively. Edith answers softly, "We survived California just the same." The words carry unintended depth. Survival is not combat, but adaptation. Meanwhile, the counterfeit Santa saga lingers. Months later, police eventually catch him for unrelated fraud. Archie hears the news at the bar and nods knowingly. Once a crook, always a crook, he declares. But when he walks home afterward, he touches the seashell again. Something in him resists the temptation to conclude so easily. Redemption is not linear. One spring afternoon, Gloria phones unexpectedly. She cries tears of relief. Counseling is working. Tension is softening. Meals are shared. Laughter is returning. She thanks Edith for listening, thanking her not just as mother, but as a mirror reflecting potential back at her. Edith listens with quiet joy. When the call ends, she feels the first sun of spring in her chest. Archie, pretending not to care, asks casually from his chair, "So, what did she say exactly?" His facade is transparent. Edith smiles and answers softly. She said, "They're trying." Archie nods and grumbles something about better not waste their time, but his tone is soft. Later that evening, he polishes the seashell with a napkin when nobody is watching. In summer, Gloria writes again. She and Michael attended a marriage retreat recommended by their therapist. They learned to argue without destruction, to celebrate each other's existence, to say thank you for simple tasks. Joey draws them again, this time with bigger smiles. Gloria sends the picture to Edith, who frames it immediately. In the fall, Archie and Edith decide to visit California again, not because guilt compels them, but because they want to. They board a plane with smaller luggage and fewer complaints. The turkey stays home. On arrival, Gloria greets them not with smog-burned eyes, but rested expression. Michael shakes Archie's hand firmly without resentment. The light in their house feels warmer. The lemon tree sways gently. Stephanie jokes she is now too old to fear attic doors. They share meals jokes, minor frustrations, all without explosion. One evening after Joey falls asleep, Archie sits on the patio alone. He watches constellations foreign to his New York sky. Michael joins him. They sit in silence at first. Then Michael says something Archie never expected. "Thank you for pushing me to care." Archie scoffs, but doesn't deny it. He mumbles, "Just don't let her down," again, then stands limping slightly as if the weight of his wisdom is physical. On their last night, Gloria hugs Edith again. This time there are no tears, only steady breath. "We're okay," she whispers. Edith replies, "I know." When returning home, Archie leaves something on the patio table, a small New York subway token sealed in tape. A quiet symbol that identity can be shared across worlds. Back in New York, fall leaves scatter across sidewalks. Archie resumes bar duties, cracking jokes, complaining about modernity, but occasionally defending therapy, marriage effort, and second chances. Regulars stare stunned. Barney jokes that Archie must have been swapped in California by aliens. Archie smirks, tosses peanuts at him, and mutters, "Maybe I just learned something, Meathead Jr." Back home, Edith adds the new California seashell to the mantle. The display now includes 2 shells, past and present. Archie claims he hates decorations, but when dusting, he wipes them first and most gently. Winter returns once more. Snow falls like soft applause across rooftops. Stephanie sits by the fireplace reading. Archie sits near the Christmas tree. Edith hums Zip, a dee-doo-dah. Everything looks the same but feels different. When the clock strikes midnight on Christmas night, Archie stands up, stares at the tree lights, and whispers his mantra again. Those were the days, but this time, for the first time, he adds quietly, "And these are good too." Edith hears him pretending not to. She walks over, takes his hand, and rests her head on his shoulder. Snow glows through the window. The seashell glimmers by the firelight. Growth coils invisibly inside the room, slow, steady, miraculous. Family is not repaired by one apology, one conversation, one holiday. It is repaired through repetition, through showing up again and again when storms pass and sun rises. And in that living room with flawed people promising tomorrow, the world feels almost gentle.